haven't heard from Darren. Have you? I
Have
assume
not.
he's coming. All right.
I think he would
We
let
got a
me know
little
if he
time.
wasn't.
That clock's not right. Got 3 minutes. $10.
That's on the booster question we might be able to answer. Has there ever been a budget established for what needs to be done to the press box? So when we're asking a donor.
No.
Yeah,
So-
I have estimates.
We've discussed different things, and yeah, but not like a budget, no.
Not a budget.
I was trying to throw something out there to somebody when they were like, how much do you need? And I said, I would think $10,000 would be. I said, I don't think it would be
I don't have $10,000.
You know,
Look at me.
testing.
Yeah, it's coming.
As far as I know,
It's coming. That's what
he's busy.
I know he is. So I'm
Not as busy as you.
I'm home monitor for a test. It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
So for you guys. I don't sub much anyway, so the hall monitor is about it. Hall monitor at a hotel. How you been doing?
Oh. Your daughter's graduating.
Oh yeah,
My gracious, how nice is that? Thank you.
it's awesome.
I got pelted.
What has she decided to do? What she wants to do, or still in flux?
Still working that out.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to still be wondering that. Got lots of time. Okay. Oh, I'll wait till you extend then. We'll just be just a hair late. I don't want to do the pledge without him.
Driving awfully fast for a lot.
Well, the usual, right?
Hi Archie, how are you today?
Doing good yourself.
Can't be any better than this. Hi Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'd be better if it were 70 or 80
I got hearing aids, what did you say?
I would be better if it were warmer outside,
I would too.
like Saturday. But other than that,
I want to know who traveled on spring break or something and didn't bring back sun with them.
I didn't travel.
All right.
I
Then,
went to Coldwater.
well, that doesn't count. They had worse snow today than Marshall did because I was up in Marshall all day, and then it was
I
cold
took a
water
picture
too.
of a car full of snow.
That's awful. Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. Because this morning I was in Coldwater and it was like a blizzard at one point. Don't
We
sit
are
down.
live, so.
I'm going to call the meeting to order and let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Union City Community Schools Board meeting. Our meeting agenda is available for you to follow. The expectation for our board meeting is to follow this agenda closely. We operate under the Open Meetings Act and utilize Robert's Rules of Order to govern our discussion and decision-making process. There is an opportunity for public comment during our set agenda. We welcome the public to express their opinions during this time of our agenda. If there are questions about the agenda or the board meeting process, please seek out one of the board members for clarification. Do we have any addition or deletion of items to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as sent to us.
Support.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. Correspondence. Do we have some correspondence for this evening?
We do have correspondence. We have a thank you note from the Smith girls, it says, for the flowers that we sent to the
Oh,
funeral home.
nice.
Do I read that?
Sure.
Union City Community School Board, thank you so much for remembering Mom with the plant. It was so nice of you to think of her. Mom thoroughly enjoyed teaching at UCHS and was very proud of her years as a Charger. Sincerely, the Smith girls.
Very nice. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our first public comment time. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about the agenda items. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow the others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have any public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to action items. Our first action item is financials. Board action is required to approve the financials for the month ending March 31st, 2023. I will entertain a motion for the same.
Support.
Discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Move on to retirement. Board action is required to approve the retirement of Lisa Powell, elementary paraprofessional, on May 24th, 2023, and she has been with the district for 7 years. I will entertain a motion for that approval.
So moved.
Discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. Custodian hiring. Board action is required to hire Candy Demery as the high school night custodian. I will entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. Turn the page and we will move on to individual contract extensions. Board action is required to approve the extension of the following contracts. All other contracts, excluding the superintendent, will expire at the end of their current term. And I would entertain a motion for the same.
Motion to approve all contracts, extensions.
I would support that.
Discussion?
See a link in here for them, but
No, the language does not change on any of these at this point. This is simply, these are all one-year contracts that will be expiring in June. And so we're just extending them 1 year. Then the language and wages will be coming in June.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Administrative and individual contracts. Board action is required to approve the new contracts for the following individuals and administrators. And I would ask that whoever is making the motion to please use the recommended motion that is in our board packet.
I would use that language and, you want me to say it out loud or just move to approve the language?
You have to say it out loud.
I move that the existing contracts of Grant Hutchins, Sarah Lesson, Haley Denny, Patrick McCurr, and James Owens be non-renewed, and that the board approve the new contracts as presented for Grant Hutchins, Sarah Lesson, Haley Denny, Patrick McCurr, and James Owens, which are effective July the 1st, 2023.
Thank you.
Support.
You took the easy side and just did the support part, didn't you?
What do you support, by the way? Would you read that?
Any discussion?
Were any of these contracts changing, or are they just what they are?
I know we had some language change.
The contracts are uploaded here, and they're all changes from previous contracts. So we took the that one clause out that caused us to go through that, what we've done the last meeting and now this meeting, where it automatically renewed. That language has been taken out. The terms itself, like wages and benefits and those things, are all the same. The language was updated by the attorney because those contracts were ones that were created many years ago. The language was pulled from ones that Marty Chard created. And so, and working with the attorney, we've updated the language so that it meets current legal requirements and has all the proper language in that is necessary to going by Michigan law. And there are some other changes. I've reviewed those changes with each of those people. I sent them the contract. I gave them a couple of days to read them over, to talk to me about them and ask any questions. And so we've, kind of gone through that process, and at this point, I believe they're all okay with those.
And the committee of the board met, and we recommend approval of those changes.
Right. Yes, we did talk. That was before we actually had the final version, but we talked about the things that were going to be changing in the contracts and discussed those things. Yes.
And our recommendation is approved.
The personnel committee was in agreement. Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No, that doesn't matter.
If you have a question, I'm happy to
Yeah,
answer it.
Yeah, go ahead if you have one.
Names don't matter to me a whole bunch, but I was just curious. Mr. Rush is director of technology. Does that mean he's adding additional anything else to his plate, or what is a director of technology? Just the name change? Is that what it is?
Well, pretty much. He got his bachelor's degree, and so he asked me if his title could be the director of technology title, which is what pretty much every other school district the person has, and he would like to have the same title as all the other people. And so, yes, I mean, he is taking on, we've been working, he and I working together. It is a constant process. Every time something new comes up that I have to get involved with, like most recently we had to make some changes to the firewall for the system controller. So then he and I sit down, we go through that together. I make sure he has access. I talk to him about how to do what we're doing, and he's constantly taking on new things from me as we, go through this together. So, but that was pretty much why I changed the title.
Any other questions?
No.
So the athletic director, that's a change to a full-time position?
That is a change to a full-time position, yes.
Okay. Does that have to be open to everybody in the district?
No, it does not.
Okay.
No, she's already in that position as half-time with a half-time teacher. And so I'm just expanding her time in that position, so it does not have to be open. Would you like me to, do you have any other questions about why we're doing that? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, I just got, so she was half-time teacher.
Okay.
Athletic director.
Until she took that position, we had not had a teacher serving as a teacher, athletic director, in 20-some years. Always before, our athletic director had either been a full-time or a retired person who was basically working at the job in the retirement, or Jeff Hammond did it for a number of years as assistant principal, athletic director. And I think the one thing that anybody would tell you about that period of Jeff doing that is that it was pretty much an impossible job for him to do that. the amount of time required. When Haley was put in that position, that was not something I was in favor of, as being a halftime teacher and halftime athletic director. And so I had a bias against that right from the beginning, that I didn't think it was a job that could really be done well that way. And the last 2 years have confirmed that for me.
Not to interrupt, but prior to her, we had a part-time athletic director. So, and
I guess a
Well,
bus garage coordinator.
He was
athletic
bus
director.
garage coordinator / athletic
so
director.
it's,
And there's a lot of things that we could say about that period of time that might be better not to get into, but just that the last 2 years pretty well demonstrated to me that it was practically impossible for her to be able to do the job adequately, and to be able to be at and supervise the contests. We had she was here teaching half the day. She was here all day essentially from 7:30 in the morning until 3:30, and then when we have events at night, she was back here for multiple events. But a lot of the time, just because you can't do that nonstop, we filled in. We paid people to be supervision at events, and it seemed like every time we did that, or at times when we did that, there were issues and problems, and people were like, "Why isn't the athletic director just here?" and all these things. She rarely, if ever, could get over to the middle school to supervise. We used to have both high school and middle school AD years ago. And then we went to some supervision, but the high school AD was always able to get to both things, and it was very difficult for her to be able to do that. And plus, we seem to have events every Saturday now. I don't know. We have something going on here, a tournament of some sort, just about every Saturday, whether it's a middle school volleyball, middle school basketball, whether it's we had volleyball tournaments, wrestling tournaments. We've had all kinds of things going on here. She had very little time to get to practices, to be able to actually evaluate coaches, see what they're doing in practice, to be able to spend a couple of hours watching practice. And so it's been my opinion that it just wasn't a workable situation, and that we needed to shift to someone who could devote themselves to that position. If I think about the hours involved with our bus supervisor, who's a full-time person, and our food service, who's practically basically a full-time person, many other positions. If I think about any of our teaching positions, I can honestly say the athletic director job itself, just the athletic director, is easily as much of a time involvement and responsibility as any of those positions. And if we're going to be able to do it right, it has to be somebody who can dedicate that kind of time to it. So at that point, I was looking at the option of, she's in the position. I talked with many of our coaches this year. They were almost unanimous in that they felt like a couple of things. They don't want to, the ones that have been coaching for a while don't want to change athletic directors again. They felt like Haley, after being handed kind of a bad situation to start with, has made a lot of improvement since her first year in learning the job and being sort of thrown into on-the-job training, so as it was, and they were did not want to see her out of that position. However, and likewise, that's not really the type of a salary I would normally think of paying an athletic director. But she is a tenured teacher here, and if she does not have that position, she would be in the classroom, and it's the same wage as we would pay her whether she was working in the classroom teaching PE 5 hours a day or whether she's the athletic director. It's the exact same wage. And so whether she's in the classroom teaching 5 hours, and then you have an inexperienced athletic director, somebody who hasn't been here 2 years, making, $45,000, $50,000, or you have somebody in the lower end of the teaching scale teaching those 5 classes, and she's the athletic director. To me, that made the wiser choice.
It's another recommendation that was approved by the Personnel Committee. Do we recommend
Yeah, we did.
that?
I did discuss this with the
We
personnel
recommend
committee.
Any other questions or discussion?
Couple of
What
comments.
is the personnel?
What's that, Paul?
What is the personnel?
Dave
The two
Paula.
different subcommittees.
Okay, this is
and
within
Jennifer.
the school board.
We
then?
get, we
Yeah.
get appointed
Dave,
by the
Paula,
school board
and
for certain
Jennifer.
committees
That's
like
what-
you're on, and
Yeah.
it just happened, it fell lucky to me to be on the personnel committee.
I think you asked for that job, if I remember correctly.
I don't think I asked for anything.
I know you said, go ahead, Mark. I know you said we didn't change salaries, but I was just curious, are these salaries commensurate with other salaries and people in similar roles across the district or the state?
For each of these positions,
Correct.
I couldn't.
They're all the same.
I couldn't tell you that exactly. I wouldn't. It would be pure speculation on my part for me to say that. So I can tell you that I believe Grants is low. Just from I do have experience in there, and I think it's significantly low. I have concerns that he stay. I'm very concerned about that. As far as the athletic director pay, I think that's probably high. As I said, it's not, if I was posting it, that's not what I would advertise to hire a new person for that job. But
So it's more than twice what we paid 2 years ago, but that was part-time, I understand. But I just have concerns that the financial impact of some of these, and each one of these people is great. I like them. I just want to make sure that we're making the right decision long term by signing up for some of this stuff.
and I guess and James and Patrick and Sarah, their salaries. Well, Sarah's is exactly. I explained. If you read my notes, did you read my notes?
I didn't get them all,
Sarah's.
no, we can move on. That's fine.
So you should read that, but the others are the same as they were this current year. I will say, I'm just trying to be I'm totally transparent and above board. The athletic director position, you would put it this way: she's a tenured teacher here who is on step 13. She's the person that I believe should be in the position next year. If I had said, but I need you to be able to be full-time because you can't dedicate the amount of time to it, being a half-time teacher, then I was either forced with, I either leave her in as a half-time teacher, which I don't think is working. I don't think it's fair to her, and I don't think it gives us the type of job in the athletic director's spot that we need. Or I say, you're going back in the classroom and I'm going to take some new AD who maybe has never done the job, because that's who you'd get, and pay them $45,000, $50,000. Or I hire a PE teacher and pay them $42,000, $43,000, whatever it is, and let her be the athletic director at her current teaching salary. It's the same amount of money we're going to spend either way we do it. If we don't hire her for this, she will say, then I'm going to go back to the classroom and we will pay her the $71,000, and we will hire an AD, and you'll actually spend more money because she will make that in the classroom. And what I'm trying to say is that I know what we've paid in the past. I know what others might pay, and I'm telling you, to do the job right, it's as much responsibility and time as any of our teachers have. It just is. So,
Fair enough.
Any other discussion? Did you have anything, Archie?
I was just trying to
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. We move on now to the 2023-2024 CISD budget resolution. And board action is required to approve the Calhoun Intermediate School District budget proposal for 2023-2024 as presented. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
And Kelly, will you call the roll, please, as this is a resolution?
Algie,
Here.
DeYoung, Mathis,
Yes.
Labar,
Yes.
Mears,
Yes.
Arlt,
Yes.
Herman.
Yes. Thank you. We will now move on to our discussion items. The first one up is Neola.
So this is the first reading of the spring update, February update of Neola policies. There's each of them. The updated one is in your packet. As you look at those over the course of the next month, you can see the green is the highlighted green is new, and then the red with the line crossed through it is what has been removed, taken out. They update these based on changes in the law through various court decisions, for other reasons to try to keep us in compliance what current law is.
And so this being our first reading, enjoy the month, and you can read through those when you have
If you
free
have
time.
questions, feel free to email me, and I'd be happy to try to answer them as you go through them.
All right. Next is our bleacher project update.
So as you're aware with some of the information I've emailed you in the past week, we ran into issues with our bleacher project last week that although they have not, they do not mean at this point that we're not going to be able to complete it this summer, but they've caused some concern. And I guess I would just say that those issues were the result of a person that works for PSI, our construction management company, not providing, being transparent with us, being accurate with us in information related to the project, by misleading me into believing that things were going well, stating that things were moving along well, when in fact that there were things that had not been done, that should have been done, that he should have done, that had not been done. I could spend, and easily have spent, I could spend 2 hours going back through every twist and turn over the last week, and I don't know that that would be productive. I'll answer any questions you have, of course, about it. But after talking with first him, and then I've spoken with our architect extensively. I've spoken with Ryan Nagel. I spoke with him last Thursday, who was in line to do the excavation work. And then I've spoken with the president of the national head of sales for their company several times since last week, including again this morning. I had a long phone call with him this morning, and I had a call with our video call with our architects this afternoon. The net result is that we are not going to be able to, number one, get the bathrooms built this summer. That is not going to be possible. And that is due primarily to the PSI not creating the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical drawings. they took the responsibility for creating those drawings. And despite our architect's repeated requests to receive those, they never did those drawings and sent them to our architect. I was told last Tuesday that we weren't going to be able, because they were unable to find a plumber who could do the work. But in reality, beyond that, and whether and how much that is a problem, I'm not sure. The reality is that we needed those drawings to be able to even put in and get the permits. And our sales representative, insisted that those things were being handled, and he had not done that. And so when I spoke with our architect last week, she told me that she had been constantly asking for those since last September, and had been getting the brush off and sidestepped since then. She had offered for someone they work with to do the mechanical, plumbing, and electric drawings, and was rebuffed at that as well, until last Wednesday, when out of the blue, because I basically, well, when he called me Tuesday to tell me that because of this, the project wouldn't be able to happen this summer, I told him that the project would either happen this summer or it will not happen with him or his company. And at that point, he apparently agreed to let her have someone hired to do those drawings. So there were a number of things like that went on. And so where we stand right now is that I've been issued apologies profusely by several people at their company. He is no longer to be part of any project that we have going on in our district, and in fact will not be coming to our property in the future, ever. And in speaking with the head of their sales, Bob Weedy is his name, he, in the call this morning, has told me they had a meeting from 7 to 8 this morning, and the people that are involved, he's got their lead production manager, himself, and a couple other their senior people working on this. And their priority is to have, by the end of this week, a schedule showing that they will have the bleachers built before our first football game this summer, that they will be able to complete the bleachers with the railings, basically everything except for the bathrooms. And they would bring in a trailer with, they bring in these trailers with handicap restrooms in them and the whole thing, to be here during football season until such time as the bathroom part could get done. Now, the big issue right now is getting the permits, though, and how long that's going to take. And so he's told me they're going to do everything they can to have things done as quickly as possible. And I know the engineer that's going to do the electrical drawings is supposed to be here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The mechanical drawing person is supposed to be here, I think, either Wednesday or Thursday. And they're still hopeful to have this all put together to be able to set for permits. I think she told me today within about a week to 10 days. So they're still optimistic that they can get that accomplished before the end of the summer. I'm trying to be optimistic, and I'm making sure I have back channels now to check everything they say to me. After my conversation with them this morning and this afternoon when I talked to the architects, okay, this is what they told me. I want to know what the construction manager told you. I want to make sure everything's matching up in terms of what they're telling you is going to happen, because I just feel like I have to do that. So if any of you have any questions about that status, I'm happy to answer them.
What would be the possibility if it took longer to get rid of a company we don't trust and start over again? I mean, I know it's a long way down the road, I know that's the thing, but we have an untrustworthy company that we're dealing with that you don't feel confident with. And my question is, I'd like to know what our options are.
Okay, so, that is a very good question. That's something I've wrestled with since last Tuesday. The first part of that is that we could absolutely get rid of them. We have no responsibility to them. We don't owe them a dime toward the bleacher project at all. We have not got anything that's committed us to paying them anything. Our contract with our architect is a separate contract, and they would remain intact. We could hire a new construction manager. We would have to go through the bid process again. It would mean definitely the project would be delayed. I don't see any way to get it done this summer without working with PSI. The two reasons for moving forward and getting it done this summer would be that the two things that have been weighing on me is, number one, we've made promises to the community. We've told the community we're going to do it. And I feel like I've let the community down by trusting this person. Even though I kept contacting him and calling him and asking him questions, and he kept giving me the right answers, I wish there had been some way I would have known that what he was telling me wasn't true, that I could have known. And so I feel badly about that. The other reason for moving forward, trying to get it done this summer, is I feel concerned for Ryan Nagel and his business. He's turned down other jobs in order to do this job for the school. It's a big job, represents at least a month of his work. And so I know that there have been jobs he's passed on that he could have had planning to do this job. And so if at all possible, I would like to be able to honor that, keep him in that work for this summer. So those are the two reasons, primarily for moving forward. As far as the company PSI itself, I have had nothing but good recommendations from other people about the company. The architect, again today, highly complimented them as a company that they've worked with. He said that they are currently in the process of doing 4 or 5 other jobs with that company, albeit with a different sales person, and that they have been nothing but professional, and all those jobs are going along just fine. And so that reassured me. We had the kickoff this morning for the middle school project, which is with PSI, and so the head construction manager for this area, who would be doing, as I understand it, would be the one involved with the bleachers as well. I met with him this morning, and he seemed very detail-oriented, responsible, very focused. I try not to. I'm trying not to besmirch an entire organization for my experience with one individual, but and believe me, if it was something if it weren't for those other two trying to get it done this summer and trying to make sure that Ryan didn't lose out on the work, I would be happy to say we go somewhere else. But I'm at least open to waiting to see what comes of this week, what they deliver to me. Supposedly they will have signed contracts from all contractors, all the subcontractors, for us, and then a contract for us to sign with deadline dates, etc. And our attorney is working and communicating with their attorney, and was today communicating with their attorney. So my hope is that by the end of this week, first of next week, I would be able to say to you that this is the progress they've made, this is what they've given me, And then we can, we could decide at that point, if you wanted to, we could have another, a special meeting just so all of you can weigh in on deciding whether to proceed with that company or not.
My feeling is at a particular time is that I'm willing to wait and to see what we have as far as in concrete or what dates are ready to do things.
And I would ask,
I also feel that, without that, I'm not willing to move with them because there's no guarantee right now they're even going to be done by football season, just their word. But if they had something in concrete, then I would prefer to have another meeting to at least look at what they
and that is what I would prefer as well. And I would make sure that they would come and their representative would come and be here to talk to the board about that at that time.
Your comment about the fact you check with other companies and they're reliable goes a long way. I don't want some half-assed job done just because they're rushing it to get it done. It's got to be a quality job because this is going to last for longer than we're here on the board. We're going to be expecting to have use of that. We want to make sure that they're reliable. And your comments about the fact that other people that have worked with them say they are very reliable.
I mean, they're the construction management. The people doing the work are going to be the concrete
I know.
company and the excavator and the possibly Rampant doing the rails and those types of people. So
They work with permits. They work with
exactly.
They come and look at the job to make sure it's being done the proper way. They're on site doing those kind of things. They did like with our church,
Right.
and they have a big part in this project.
Yep, I agree.
So if you're looking at bids, again, you're looking up to next year to get started, if you were to go with somebody else.
If we were to go with somebody else, the soonest we would get it accomplished would be to either do it next summer or potentially do it with excavation after football season and then do the concrete in the spring. That would be the absolute soonest it would be done. I just don't believe it'd be possible to get a different, there's just no way to switch a project manager, switch a
Like this
contractor to do that, to be able to get it done this summer. There's just, if we're gonna do it this summer, it has to be with them.
So I guess my feeling is we wait till Friday till they have things in stone and then make a decision.
There's a lot I want to say, as you know. I'll try to be brief. A couple things. One, your question about, why are we going to this company? We had that discussion, obviously, at the Building and Grounds Committee meeting, and I do want to commend Chris for, as soon as he realized this may not happen, or probably wouldn't happen this year, he said, we got to get together and talk about it. So we hashed out a lot of this information at that meeting. For example, the gentleman who basically was not telling us the truth and was not doing what, in my opinion, was his job, offered to come and apologize to the board, to the community. Although that would make us feel good, that we at the community level didn't feel that would be really beneficial in terms of time well spent, just to let someone say I'm sorry and us yell at him. So we hashed out a lot of these things at that subcommittee level, and I think it was beneficial, and I appreciate Chris jumping on it as soon as he can. And we tried to go different avenues, and we pushed really hard, and is there any way we can get this done by ourselves? And we just didn't feel like that was an option. And we really were, we committed this project last year, didn't get it done last year because we were scared that there was going to be some issues with aluminum procurement and things like that. And so we just put the brakes on and said, we're going to do it right, we're going to do it this year. And now we have all these things scheduled. We have track meets, we have the 4th of July activities, all this stuff that we have, the whole community and area knows we're going to do it. Really felt like we needed to get it done and not push it off by trying to do it ourselves or go another route. Now, we wanted to give Bob, the sales manager, an opportunity to show us that they could get it done, and so we're still going through that option, in terms of timelines, etc. So we haven't. No one has signed up, even on the committee level, to this company yet. We haven't signed any contracts, but we just felt like that was the only option to get it done now. To, like he had said, to make sure that we support Ryan and those who have already signed up for it, and the construction company that's doing the concrete. You know, we didn't see any other options at this point. But I think that's all that's in my head. Just kind of rolling. I was trying to remember everything I wanted to say, but the bottom line is, we want to get this done. We want to get it done right, and we feel like at this point PSI is the only option. But I do appreciate all that Chris has done, because it's been a lot in terms of. He explained it very well. He started talking. I did stop for about 15 minutes of this is what's happened over the last few months, weeks, and days. It was very well laid out. If you're hungry for a good time, you can sit and listen to all those, with the details.
I can take you through all the details.
The bottom, he gave a very good upper level 5,000 foot view right now, and the bottom line is we're committed to getting it done, and I think there's a chance we can get it done if we work at it.
So I wasn't on the committee. What I said is basically what your committee agrees with. Wait till we see what the thing is Friday,
Yes.
and then make a decision about whether this company goes forward or not. That's basically what.
That was
your
after the red-faced
recommendation is.
anger was gone in terms of what had happened. We sat down and actually had it.
That's what your recommendation
Yes,
is that
sir.
we do.
You can be angry, and believe me, I've been angry the last week. But
It's an accomplishment.
at the end of the day, you are where you are, and you have to decide are you gonna do something or not.
Well, I feel like at our committee level too, we went and talked about all of those different avenues extensively.
Yeah.
If we went this route, what are our options? If we go this route, what are our options? And we kept coming back to the fact of we're already this far with this company, and the fact we'd have to start all over again was very disheartening to think about. And so,
We also
correct.
We also requested that Bob show up. We said we want to talk to him next Monday night. Well, he's out of the country, so. But
Yeah, he's actually out of the.
Is Bob the director?
The
He's
national.
their national sales director, and he's actually out of the country today.
But somebody will be here. I will notify you on Friday of what they promise. And the only other thing I had was CSI, or whatever this company is not a fly-by-night company. They've done many projects, and they're reliable.
Oh yeah, they're not a.
We're not going to get.
They're not a
sued by the
small
company.
country. They're not a small company by any means. They primarily in Pennsylvania and Indiana. They, do a lot of work in those two states, and they're moving into Michigan the last year and a half, 2 years.
So the main thing is this one person that works for them is the one that's not reliable. The company's fairly reliable. Is that correct?
That is what I believe and hope to be the case at this point. Yes.
As far as my vote goes, I would go along with another meeting after you have it, and then go from there. Nothing's going to change between now and Friday anyway.
Thanks for the update email too.
Okay.
Thanks for your work, Chris. That's why you get paid the big bucks.
Any other questions people may have at this point?
So when I get and learn more and get closer, I will be probably reaching out about setting a special meeting, so that we can get it scheduled, so that everybody can get together and hear what they have to say. And okay.
Yep.
All right.
If we go that route, it might be a good idea to have someone here personally to walk us through anything too, if we had any questions.
Okay.
Just a thought. Might be nice to have a face in front of us.
I'm planning on it.
Okay, good. I figured you were, but I was just going to put that little request in there.
We do like your face like this.
Do you? Oh, thanks.
Okay, let's move on to under information, CASB for there's banquet meeting. I think we all got emails regarding that. And if you're planning on going, please let Kelly know, because she needs to let them know regarding banquet information. So let her know ASAP. And then we also have some information from Troon Law. And if you'd like to address that, please.
Sure. Yeah. Regarding our discussion last month about the election and the change in the sinking fund millage, the error that they had made the attorney at Truman made. I spoke with the president of the law firm, and as well as that attorney. They both, again, apologized profusely. They offered to pay, to refund us the amount that we had paid for that election work, $1,725. And actually, he emailed me today to let me know that he had just signed the check and it was being mailed. They've also offered to pay for costs that we have related to informing the property tax holders, the property taxpayers. I haven't worked out the details of how we'll do that. I need to find out if it's something we can put in with their winter tax bill, some sort of a notice why there's a change. And so they will pay those costs. And they also, the president of the company, of the firm, and the attorney both offered to come down here tonight and apologize. But I had talked about that with Amber last week, and she didn't feel that was necessary. So I told them that they did not need to come. But he again offered this morning to come down here tonight, to be here to apologize. But
We got a lot of apologies today.
so anyway, that is the result of.
But the point is, these guys are putting money where their apology is too.
Exactly.
That means something to me that they're willing to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and to ask repeatedly to come and face us over it, I think stands for a lot as well, so.
If you didn't do your job right, we shouldn't pay you for that job, and you're getting it back to us, so I appreciate it.
Right,
To err is human, to forgive divine.
yes.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
Is that a scripture verse there?
I don't have the scripture, but I look it
Oh.
up for you.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to public comment. This is the second section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about Union City Community Schools. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do you have any comments at this time?
Tate Goodwin, parent of 3 Union City students. First thing I want to share with you is I did interviews today with your senior students. And every generation thinks the next generation is less better off than before, or less prepared for a job, or they've got a lot to learn, and I found that many of the students I spoke to today have a bright future, and they were very prepared, and it did not fit that stereotype that people like to put out there, and they're probably better at a lot of things than kids that graduated 20 years ago were good at. So I just wanted to encourage you that there's a lot of seniors that are going to be going in the workforce that seem to have a great future ahead of them. So I just wanted to tell you thank you, and thanks for allowing members of the community to be a part of that with the students. It was great to see, and hopefully they benefited by working with the general public. Last thing, last time I'll beat the dead horse, I emailed all of you guys, but as a member of the public, I would really like to see you revisit repealing the permanent mask policy. Our country's propaganda machine seems to use fear to manipulate all of our behavior, and I believe this is the only reason that we have a permanent mask mandate. It was a knee-jerk reaction out of fear. Many scientists now have put time and effort into studying the subjects. Medical professionals, people much smarter than me, you can go look at the studies if you want to read them in depth and get into the legal jargon. But one of them in particular took data from 74 studies, compiled all the data, and found that masks did little to nothing to stop the spread of respiratory illness in the way they were used. There's also many studies you can read that tell about the harm that masks cause to especially young students with their speech and communication and development in that department, which is the main reason that kids are coming to school. So please revisit that, do the right thing, repeal that policy, and avoid future abuses of power and loss of medical and individual liberties. And it's the last time I bring that up to you, but I really hope that you look at the permanent issues that causes. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do you have any other comments this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to Board Roundtable. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share with Board Roundtable?
Paula's got something.
And we all looked right at you. Anyone? All right. At that point then, I will move on to adjournment and I will entertain a motion for the same.
I'll make that motion.
Mm.
You're quick on that one.
Yeah.
Who's
good luck
supporting
on
it?
that one.
I'll support it.
And any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. And the motion is passed.